Hello, wonderful people. How are you? Today I'm talking about operations, colloidal silver, and faith. I'll tell you all about it. And masks. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. If you like this channel and you want to help the channel to grow and help me to help the channel to grow, just press like and subscribe to the channel. That'll really help. Thank you. So, I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you about what's been going on in our life of late. A couple of weeks back, the news started to say that the masks were back, obligatory in doctors and hospitals and things like that. Now, because we have our finger on the pulse, and I'm talking about we as a group, we know everything miles before anybody else who mightn't be switched onto our network knows. So we knew fine well that that wasn't true, that masks were not obligatory. And so we were kind of primed. And I told you the story about the fact that we got worked up about when we went to the clinic, and then we got there and people were wearing masks, but it wasn't obligatory. Even the doctor that saw us, a private doctor, Cynthia's had some aesthetic stuff done on her foot, and the doctor didn't have a mask on. And I think he's awake, but I didn't get into that. Anyway, so what happened was we had to go to the hospital then. It was a private hospital, and we went there with all of our documents ready and everything. And we walked in, and of course the majority of people had a mask on, but not everybody. The odd person. I would say in the hospital, as we walked around, I would say that I saw maybe 10 people without a mask on. Now, that is a very high percentage, because before, in the madness, I never saw anybody without a mask on unless they were smoking a cigarette. And so suddenly we had people who weren't wearing a mask. And that is very unusual. So we went into the hospital, went up to the reception without our masks on and said, we're looking for the place, blah, 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 to register. And he said, it's over there, but you need to put a mask on. Masks are obligatory. And we said, no, they're not. Okay? No, they're not. And he said, yes, they are. And we said, no, they're not. And my wife said, how are they obligatory? And he said, because it's in the BOE. The BOE is like the government document. And we said, no, it isn't. It isn't. And it wasn't. But he looked at us and he said, well, anyway, when you get there, they're going to make you put a mask on. Okay, so we walked away, mask free. We went to another room where we had to sit. As soon as we got in, the woman said, you need to put masks on, they're obligatory. And we said, no, they're not. And she looked at us and said, yes, they are. And we said, no, they're not. And she went away. And another lady came in and said, masks are obligatory. And we said, no, they're not. And she said, yes, they are. And we said, no, they're not. I mean, it was just hilarious the way that it was going on. But each time they walked away, they didn't make a deal out of it, nothing. They just said what they said, and then they walked away when we said, no, they're not. Okay. And then we carried on our business. Nobody said any more to us. And that was it. We came out of the hospital. Okay. A little bit later on, like a week later, in the local papers, not local, national papers, it says the hospitals that have given fines to people for not wearing a mask, interesting that they have to give out fines. People were not wearing a mask. Were in error because there was an error. It wasn't obligatory, and so they're going to have to refund the fines. So it was just interesting that we knew before they did. But of course, imagine you're going to a hospital and somebody says, put the mask on, it's obligatory. If you don't know any better, you're going to do it. No wonder people were putting it on. So that was interesting. So we feel kind of, yeah, well done that we stuck by our guns. We didn't say we've got an exemption or anything. We just said it's not obligatory. And hey, there you are. But I know some places were refusing treatment if you didn't wear a mask. Very illegal. Very illegal. So, that's that bit. So then, of course, when you have an operation, what do? They say to you, the day before the operation, we want you to start taking antibiotics. And then you're going to take a course of antibiotics for the following week. Okay? Now, we don't take antibiotics, typically. Why? Because we've got one. We've got a natural one, which is colloidal silver, which in my opinion, and it's only my opinion because I am not a doctor, it's only my personal experience over the past few years that it's very powerful. I think I told the story when I had this tattoo done. The guy spent far too much time and he poisoned my blood, and I started to get a line up. And Cynthia, who had exactly the same tattoo the same day, she started to get this red line up, and the red line got to about here. The doctor, we went to urgencies, and the doctor said, if it gets to your heart, you'll die. So you better take some antibiotics. So what did we do? We came home and we started drinking colloidal silver. And I started putting it on directly topically and drinking it. I don't measure it. I just neck it down, okay? The next day, it was gone. Gone. Cynthia had mastitis. And the first time she had antibiotics when she was breastfeeding, and then Sebastian had diarrhea for a week as a baby, even though the doctor said, no, it doesn't go into the milk. Lies, it does. And so we said the next time she got it, we knew about it because we didn't know about colloidal silver then. So we started taking that topically, orally. The next morning, it was gone. It was eased. Now understand that when you take antibiotics, it takes 2 days for them to kick in, okay? And obviously we know the side effects of antibiotics. I mean, it removes all the flora from your intestinal tract. And we do know that at about 70% of your immune system is in the gut. And so when you take antibiotics, you're actually leaving yourself vulnerable, in my opinion, but I'm not a doctor. This is just all my own personal opinion, has nothing to do with it. I'm not giving medical advice, okay, at all. So we've had loads, and recent success with colloidal silver. My son, on one of his baby teeth, he started getting a gum boil or whatever, swelling up, and it was all hot and it was hurting him. So of course we went to the dentist, and the dentist said antibiotics. And so we came home and we'd already started anyway, but we were giving him colloidal silver about 5-6 times a day, 7 times a day. And within 2 days, 3 days, it was better. And within a week, it was gone. And when we went back to the dentist, she said, oh, I can see how well the antibiotics have worked because it's all gone. Okay? So we've had loads and loads and loads and loads of experience with very fast relief using colloidal silver. And we make it at home. It doesn't cost very much at all. The silver and some batteries. So what happened? Cynthia, instead of taking, and this was a big risk for us because this was quite a major foot operation, okay? Major foot operation, quite an intervention. And Cynthia said, you know what? I think I'm just going to go with colloidal silver. And I said, well, why not? And, if as we get into it, if you feel that it's not doing the job that it needs to do, you can always take the antibiotics. So the day before the operation, she started taking colloidal silver. Then as soon as we got home, she started, she's been taking it day and night. Every time she wakes up in the night, she's been taking it. And maybe, 10, 15 times a day, just a shot. Beautiful. She's healed beautifully. She's healed so quickly that the surgeon said, wow, this is really healing fast. Much faster than what we've read other people have healed. So, what can I say about colloidal silver? This last test, this is like, an operation. This last test has said to me now, colloidal silver is fantastic. However, that's just my opinion. I'm just giving you my opinion. I know I keep saying this, but it's important. You have to do your own study and your own research and look at it. However, Cynthia went on Google, to look at what other people say about colloidal silver, of course, and what you think. For the first 75 pages, it was all do not take it, it can damage you, it can hurt you, it will make you go blue, you will die. So, unfortunately, finding good information about it is not easy, and so most of the information is anecdotal. However, I like anecdotal when it comes to what I've seen in my, when you see it with your own eyes and you know that it's got no side effects at all, none, and that's what they don't like. So that's a story. So we are sold, and we have it, and somebody's taking it at some point, whether the kids have fallen over and they've got a cut on the leg or something. Really, it's fantastic. It really is, and I would recommend that you find out how just to make it yourself. Right. The ones that we make, the one we make has 18 parts per million of silver, and the ones you buy have 30 parts per million. But they suggest that you dilute them before you take them. So we just take ours straight, and we make it ourselves, and it's fantastic, and it's worked. I mean, we've been taking it for about 15 years. So I would recommend that you take a look at it, okay? But always follow your doctor's advice. And if you've got that bumping on your back wheel, turn your radio up so you don't hear it, as any good mechanic would advise you.